Hello there! Today we're going to learn how to make a puppet that you can actually also make into a toy. So I have two that I made here. One is a monster, and look at him, he's made out of recycled materials from a magazine. But you can use regular plain paper or magazine, anything will work. You'll need some scissors, some glue, a pencil, at least maybe a marker or a crayon. If you want to turn it into a toy, you will also need a couple more things. You will need some sort of string. I'm using some dental floss, some tape. I made his eyes out of a toilet tube. So let's just get started. This green paper, make sure that your paper, whatever it is going vertical, and then you want to fold it into thirds. The way you can tell is when you fold the first edge over, then it should match the width of what's left over. Doesn't need to be perfect as long as it is pretty close. Once you like how it's overlapping, approximate thirds, then take and glue that flap down. Essentially what you're trying to do here is create a long flattened tube. So after I rub this down, the glue down a little, you can see that it just looks like a tube. Now we're going to fold it in half. Oops. You want to fold so the good side is going to hide first, because eventually you're going to fold the other direction out and then the good side will be showing where you don't have a seam. And then you flip it over and you fold it back the other direction. Now that little pocket is a place to put your fingers, and now you have a little mouth. So now we're going to add some details on here. I've been seeing a lot of frogs when I am taking nature walks, so I'm going to make some frog parts. I took another scrap of that green paper. I'm going to fold it in half so that I can draw one eye, but then when I cut it, I'll get two eyes. So I'm making a little tab. So I have a circular shape, but at the bottom, I'm putting a little extra piece down there so I can fold it in half. Cut that out. And then watch, I'm going to fold up this bottom edge. That will give me a place to put the glue. And then we're going to test that out. There we go. That's where the little eyes will go. Now I'm just using a scrap here from, like I said, some extra magazine paper. I'm going to cut out some eyes. And then I'm going to add details with black marker. So I'm always folding the paper and cutting two pieces at a time. It saves time and it makes them the same, exactly the same on both sides. So now I'm going to decorate those. All right, now that I'm done, I've found a scrap from the magazine that has some red so that I can make a nice red tongue on my little frog. And of course, I'll put glue on that and it will go on the middle section there where the mouth opens. And now I'm going to put those eyeballs on. You could also use glue stick for this. It doesn't matter what kind of glue. And then see that tab, that little folded edge. Now I'm going to put that on the top. Ooh, already my frog is coming to life. I could leave it like this and just enjoy it as a little puppet, or I could turn it into a toy. So I'm going to show you how you can turn it into a little toy that you can try to flick and catch an item in his mouth. So you'll need to have something with a little bit of weight. I'm going to use a penny here, but on my other one, I just put some paper clips, and by putting 3 paper clips on, it gave it the weight. So I'm tracing around the penny so I know how big it is, and I know that frogs like to eat insects. So I'm going to turn this into a little fly. So you'll see as I trace this, I have some wings and a body and some eyeballs on there, and it's going to be big enough to cover up that penny. So I put the wings right there beside the fold so that as I cut this, I'm not going to cut it apart at the fold. I'm going to leave it on the fold. The fold will stay so that my 2 pieces, my front and back, are going to be staying together a little bit easier. So now I'm going to tape this penny inside. It will give a little bit of weight to that, and it'll make the game easier and more fun. So I'm going to just tape that penny down onto the paper. And now I'm going to get a piece of dental floss, maybe 12 to 18 inches. That's about the length of a ruler to the length of a long ruler. And I'm going to just tape that onto the penny, and now I'm going to put glue on the paper that's still remaining and glue it shut. And then what I'm going to do is put some extra tape all over this little guy, because as I play with this toy, it's probably going to get banged up a bit. So the tape will help support the paper so it doesn't tear as easily. Now I'm going to tape this onto my frog, and you could tape it onto the inside of its mouth or onto the back of it. I taped this onto the back, but after playing with it later, I found that I really probably should have taped it to the inside of the mouth. You can feel free to play around and see what works for you. Then you put your fingers into those holes and you would swing it. I don't have enough room to show you, but you swing it and then you try to catch it. It might take several tries, but it's a fun thing. I found that with my thumb on top and my other fingers underneath, that made it a little bit easier for me to play the game of swinging that and then catching it in the frog's mouth.